I can taste your words. I can taste your.
Welcome to the Easy Answer Podcast. I'm Brandy, plant-based chef.
And I'm Vonanise, plant-based adjacent.
On this podcast, we explore thought-provoking conversations around food
and simple ways to stay healthy in this crazy world.
I mean, it is officially summer, and we all are getting out. So we're all very happy about this. And so now it's time for most people to get out to bars, restaurants, the restrictions have been lifted. And I'm not a person who really drinks alcohol. So whenever I go out, people like, say you going on a date with a guy, he's like, let's go for drinks. And I'm like, okay. And I just say, okay. And then they're just like, and then when I get there, I order cranberry juice. They're like, but you don't you're not ordering drinks. And I'm like, yes, but I need to be hydrated just like you, because I'm not a big drinker. As you see right now, I'm drinking salsa water and it's called watermelon mojito. Okay, salsa water. Okay.
I want the mocktail too. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm like a mocktail person. And so I just wanted to, I saw this story on the news that there are mocktail bars. This was pre-COVID. They probably still exist. But there are mocktail bars. And I'm just like, what do you think that, should we be judging other people and judging their lifestyle, or maybe what we perceive their lifestyle to be just because they don't drink alcohol?
I don't understand. I mean, you know how I feel about, being judged for not eating meat. So how can I not? how can I come for the people that don't drink alcohol? At the end of the day, we all drinking something, right?
That's
why
why
do I drinking alcohol?
Mm-hmm. But I think that the other person, but then their feeling is always this. Well, but I don't want to be the only one that's drinking if you're not drinking. Because drinking is such a social thing.
Yeah, but drinking is also a social thing that allows people to loosen up and feel uninhibited and feel comfortable. If you show up to the party that way, you're not required. Well, even if you don't show up to the party that way, you're not required to drink. But if that's the purpose for most people to use alcohol in social settings, and you already show up that way, why do you need to have alcohol?
That's true. And I'm definitely an outgoing person, and I definitely am a person that shows up. I mean, when I used to go, clubbing back in college, I was like, let's get a drink first. And I'm like, no, let's dance first. I show up ready to go. I don't necessarily need alcohol to loosen me up. If anything, it makes me feel tired. I'm like,
I wind down with alcohol. I don't want to people. I remember I didn't I actually was a person that didn't drink until it was I was legally it was the legal age to drink. So I waited until I was
such a goody.
I wasn't going to be locked up abroad for no reason. so I waited till I was 21, and I had a whole plan. I scheduled New York City bar hopping. I went from bar to the Village to Times Square to Uptown. Literally, I went bar hopping. What's insane about that experience is that my favorite drink of the night was rum and coke, and that isn't even a great drink, but it was it tastes like soda. Everything else was just it was alcohol. I didn't get it. I thought I was going to be dancing naked on a table by the end of the night, because that's what people do when they get drunk. I never really wanted to do the whole dance naked on the table thing. So it didn't excite me. I didn't get the hype about alcohol. I didn't get it. It didn't taste that great. And like you say, I showed up excited anyway. So alcohol made me want to go to sleep.
See, but that's the thing. And people don't realize alcohol is a barbiturate. It's not an amphetamine. So it automatically, it makes you, for me, it makes me tired, or it brings you down.
Now, you can't be dropping those big scientific words and not giving people definitions. You always asking me to describe, what's the difference between those two, barbiturate, amphetamine. So tell us what those.
I think we learned this in high school, right?
I've forgotten. COVID's messed up people's mind. People got COVID brain. Fill us in.
A barbiturate is a drug that brings you down, brings your energy down, and an amphetamine is something that brings your energy up.
Right. Thank you.
So alcohol brings you down. And so when people are behaving in a way that's like that they're more outgoing when they drink alcohol, half of the time that's their perception of how you're supposed to be on alcohol is not necessarily how they really feel. Because if you're going on of how you really feel, I mean, I'm legit tired. Like I could drink a glass of wine and then go to sleep. You know, I'm not saying everyone's me, everyone's different, but I don't know that alcohol, you know, it's never made me. I mean, I never did that Coyote Ugly thing where I was like on a bar with alcohol, drink because I drank alcohol, and I never like took my shirt off because I drank alcohol. You know,
I had freestyled on the A train because of alcohol, but I was very aware of the whole experience. Like I didn't forget it.
Yes, it does get rid of your inhibitions. We're not saying it doesn't, you know, like maybe the things you want to do that you wouldn't necessarily do. But I don't think that sometimes I think that people are just, you know, everyone's a different type of drunk. Some people are like, I have a friend, she's like a mean drunk. She will like curse you out. We're like, oh God, please don't get drunk.
I think this actually may be a good time to bring Teresa back because Teresa's actually a bartender, so she may have some insight to this drink conversation and also some fun stories to share about the different types of drunk that she's witnessed during her time as bartender. So we're bringing her back here. Hey Teresa, welcome to the easy answer.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. How's everybody today?
I'm doing good.
What are you drinking? Tell us first.
Yeah.
I am drinking just a little Friday happy hour situation. This is called Salt and Sand, and it's a mezcal margarita cider.
That looks
I
delicious.
had got them for the beach last week when it was super hot. I was like, oh, let me get something practical. So took these. It's okay, you know, just a little light something. I'm not really a beer drinker unless I'm eating wings. So
Does it taste more like beer or does it taste more like a mixed drink?
more like beer cider. You know, if you've ever had like a cider beer, yeah, it's kind of like that. It's very mild. It's not, you know, it doesn't taste very strong.
Got it. So it's not like wine cooler-y.
No, it doesn't give you that like, I don't know, that Barney's feel. It's more like a cider beer.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I dig it.
Okay.
I dig it.
It's supposed to have mezcal in it, but we'll see, which is a really special tequila.
Okay.
Uh,
Sweet. Cool. So, all right, professional bartender.
yeah.
Fill us in on your thoughts of parties of people that come to the bar where some of them drink and then some of them don't drink. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, it's always good to have that type of party because you need somebody that's got a sense about them, right? Because when people are having, like, somebody got to be coherent so that, you know, the transaction can go well. However, I have been in the opposite situation where everybody's kind of just like, you know, yeah, about to jump over the bar to get something from me. And I'm just like, whoa. But, you know, the hardest part really is just going with the flow, because if it's the beginning of your shift and people come in, they're demanding, they're drunk, they're already there, and it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, you're like, I'm not there, right? But unfortunately, as a bartender, it's kind of like allowed for you to have a shot or two if that means you're going to be more fun, because it is entertainment. It is like being out and doing things like that. So you can't really judge people at all. You kind of just got to meet them where they at. You know, some people just like had a horrible day. They come to the bar and they're just like, you could just see it, you know, like you could just see it in their face, like something is really wrong. Then, you know, you want to start them off with something nice. But then there's others that get there like when the bar about to close and it's like, maybe you should have water. Ginger ale? No, none of that. Which I always offer, or I'll just give people a glass of water when I see it. If you got the sweats, yeah, you getting water first.
I have a question. What about people like me that don't drink alcohol? Sometimes I go, I mean, I don't really drink. It's rare. And then I go out and people are like, you know, you go out on a date, he's like, let's go for drinks. And you're like, okay, let's go for drinks. And when I'm saying drinks, I'm saying seltzer water, like cranberry juice with seltzer water, because I need to be hydrated too, like every other human being, you know? Why does drink have to be alcohol? You know, do you have, like, I think they have places where they offer mocktails, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I always try to like make a little fruit punch. I offer people a Shirley Temple or something. Like you should definitely have those options in your arsenal as a bartender. I was a barista before I was a bartender, so I totally get the other side of the spectrum too. Sometimes you just want something that just really tastes good that you don't want to make yourself, you know? So you can make a simple like limeade. You can, you know, out of some ginger ale and some lemonade and add some lime and boom, you got like something easy. You can make a fruit punch. So there's lots of options. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, actually. I think it's cool to challenge the bartender in that way. Like, hi, yeah, can you really mix? What I hate as a bartender, you'd be like, what's your favorite? What's your cocktail? What you got? Like, what's your thing? And they'd be like, oh, I can make anything on the menu. Listen. If I wanted something off the menu, I wouldn't have asked you. This is your job. Like,
okay, challenging the other bartenders.
Yeah.
like, really, you ain't got nothing. Like, you can't even make me like a Coke. Like, without saying,
you can't make a rubbing Coke.
why would I order from the menu? Like, anyway, that's not what you're asking me. What I think is they should definitely have mocktails in their arsenal, and no one should be judged if they don't want to drink. Like, this is your choice. If you want to be hydrated and have a good time, you shouldn't need the alcohol. If you want to get drunk and live your best life, then go do it. You know, I do a little bit of both, and I have danced on the bar. I've done that.
Have you? We were just talking about that. So you're that girl.
I am just a tad, you know what I mean? But you know,
no judgments. Hey, I love it. Dance on the bar situation happens and how? Give us a debriefing, okay?
well, let's just say I was working and we closed the bar, so it was only staff. Okay, staff and regular situation. It wasn't like, you know, the whole bar got to see me do my thing. This was just, you know, the regular schmegulars. And somebody asked me, they dared me to do it. And I was like, you know what? Let's take this shot. And I got up there and, you know, I think I just had like a bottle of beer and I just started pouring it. I
was Tara Banks the Coyote Ugly, right?
If I'm up there, I'm going to do the shit. Like if I'm up there, I'm, you know, but I did it. It was because somebody challenged me though. That's why I did it.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was great. It didn't last very long, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. And then it was like, okay, get down. We don't have insurance. I was like, all right, somebody. No, this ain't cute. Get down. I'm glad to say that I did it safely. Yeah.
Nice. Question, just curious. The difference between like a shaken drink versus a stir drink. Like why do you shake versus stir? Like say I do want to have a cocktail at home and I'm trying to figure out the best way. Like what's the difference in the outcome of the shake versus the stir?
So it depends on the alcohol you're using. It's said that if you are using vodka, right? Because vodkas go in martinis, and that's the James Bond thing. They want it stirred. The ice will bruise the vodka and it'll lose a little bit of its clarity. So when you shake something, it mixes it all the way. It almost like breaks up the molecules, makes everything mix better, as opposed to if it's a very special liquor, you want its refinement. So you stir it and you pour it. If you ever notice when you shake a drink, it's cloudier. But if you stir it and you pour it, it kind of keeps the integrity of the color and the texture of the liquor. So that's kind of really the difference. It depends on what you're drinking, what type of alcohol. But if it's something like, you know, if you want to drink something straight, you want to see how it tastes. And alcohol is aged in barrels. It's, you know, crafted all different types of ways. So those are the things, the elements you can taste in something without adding.
Like this. You are so mine, yay!
These days, okay, got all type of plans. I'm gonna get back to y'all on that thing because I'm working on it. But yeah, so that's the integrity of the alcohol and what you're trying to get from the experience of the drink. If you want something that's easy to drink, obviously shaking it up with some mixers. But if you're really trying to taste like the refinement of the alcohol, you know, the elements, the colors, you know. When I say colors, I mean like if it's a brown liquor, it's going to taste caramelly or mapley or, you know, those sort of associations. Then you'll just, you know, stir it, put it on the rocks, a little less manipulation. Yeah. So that's the difference. I hope I explained that well.
Yes, you did. Love it.
Speaking of the rocks, if people don't know, it's ice. I want to talk about ice. When do you add the ice so that your drink's not watered down? So I have a drink and like, typically you want it to be cold, but you also don't want to water it down. So like, how do you manage that? How much ice?
Whenever you mix a cocktail, you should mix it with a full thing of ice because you want it to be refreshing, right? So the liquor is not really going to be, the mixers may be cold, but when you make a cocktail, you make it on a nice bed of ice. And then you pour it into a glass with ice. So whatever you shook it down to, it mixed. But when you pour it into the glass, it's like the mix that you just made is now freshly on some ice. If you don't like a lot, just don't pour a lot of ice in the glass. But you always mix the cocktail first, shake it in the ice, and then pour it over ice. And it's also about presentation as well. Because when you shake it, it's going to melt. The ice going to melt. So it's not, if you pour it out the mixer, it's like, oh, okay, it don't look that good. But you take that mixer, you pour it over the ice, it's like, it looks so nice. And
let us know where you bartend, and I'm going there.
I'm working on a few things. I'm actually bartending a pop-up in Brooklyn in September that I'll be doing some wine business at. So I will stop back through and share that information with y'all as well.
Nice. That's gonna be fun. I need to come. I need to know all about this. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. I love to educate people about, anything that has to do with having a good time, right? So to me, whether it's, coffee with a friend, cup of tea with your mama on the phone, or a cocktail at night with the girls, like that, to me, that's joy. That's a good time, make you feel good. So I'm all about that.
I love it.
That's so nice.
I love it. I'm trying to
I'll
think
be
about
watching your tea time too, just so you know. I'll be watching your tea time. I'll be trying to learn. I'll be mixing teas too, though. I see you do that a lot, Brandy. I love doing that. That's really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Oh, speaking of tea, like tea and alcohol, what teas do you think go, like, I guess if you're playing around with it, do you think would mix well with alcohol, and then which ones?
So I think hibiscus tea is really great. Obviously, sorrel, it's a natural drink that you drink with anything else that you mix it with, even if you dilute it with soda water and just have it like a spritzer. So hibiscus tea is always really good. Depending on what you're using it for, sometimes mint tea can mix well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mojito or something like that. Mint tea is always really good for a nice little something. And then I like a spice tea, like something with a cinnamon to it or something like that. Especially in the autumn, you can make a nice drink with something orange or cranberry or something like that and kind of taste the flavors of the season.
Yeah, I love that. Like whenever you go to like Cheesecake Factory, they'll have the coffee and they'll have the coffee with alcohol in it,
Those are
and
fun.
that's when I started drinking, like, I barely drink, but it would be like Bailey's with coffee.
Yeah.
And Bailey's is an old person drink, but when you put it with coffee, it's delicious, right?
Yep. Any liqueur really tastes good, like Kahlua. Any of the liqueurs taste really good in coffee. That's a good little additive if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee. Now, what's the deal with alcohol and freezing? So, you put alcohol in the freezer and it doesn't freeze. But say, for instance, I wanted to, I don't know, mix it in something. Mix it in with like a sorbet or like some type of tea popsicle. Like, what's the ratios that we need to kind of keep it so that it actually freezes, but we still like get that alcohol flavor?
Well, you don't want to put a lot of it in it, because the reality is if you're using like a main spirit like a gin or a vodka, something like that, that's a good one, a Grey Goose or a real one, it's going to be 40% alcohol. All of the main liquors are 40% alcohol, so it's almost 50%. So think about it in those contexts. So you want to use a little bit of that. The rest of your ingredients will mix, right? But the alcohol itself, because half of it is alcohol, it's not going to freeze. So just, maybe put at the very least a third of the cocktail would be the alcohol and the rest would be the mixers.
Okay. Because I was telling Brandy that the other day. I was like, I wanted to make little ice cubes that could go in, and put alcohol in them. And she was like, you might have to get a sorbet because alcohol. She was trying to explain to me. I was like, really? And you see me trying to be fancy, but I don't drink. I barely drink. I'm not a mixologist. I need to take you, put you in my pocket so I know what to do.
Yeah. I actually found some the other day. Those Bud margaritas, the Budweiser margaritas they have in a can. I don't know if you ever seen them.
Yeah, they were like Ritas.
Yeah, the Bud Ritas or whatever. They come in all these different flavors. Just created a popsicle with the margaritas, and they're very new. I bought them like last weekend when it was really hot, and they're actually really strong for a popsicle. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? You open a popsicle and it tastes like you're sipping a margarita. It's so crazy. I've never tasted one so strong before. It might be because it's like malt liquor, like it's like beer and not, like full alcohol. It might not even have any tequila in it. You know what I'm saying? It might just be like a malt liquor flavored tequila.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, tequila flavored malt liquor. Like it's probably not real tequila in it, because it's not in the beers anyway. It's beer. So, and they froze pretty well. They held up pretty fine. So I think it just depends on what you're using to make it. Like if you wanted to do it with like a rosé, that would probably be a good idea, because wine is normally like 13 to 14% wine or alcohol. So that would probably mix well with something, and it's not a heavy alcohol content, but it's enough for you to taste it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thanks for all your knowledge.
How can you judge people when you have all these options?
Exactly. To me, it's just chemistry. It's fun. It's creative. It's alchemy. You got to play with it. And I think that's why I really enjoy mixing beverages. I like cooking too, but something about like, really great coffee or really like dope tea or nice cocktail, it just kind of like captures the moment. So I like the alchemy. It's chemistry, just learning how to work the ingredients.
I love it.
So I failed chemistry. I was not good at that. That was not my jam back in. I didn't fail, but passed by a slim margin.
Yeah, what's element versus like food? Like you can't taste the chemicals that you put. Like chemistry's so weird. It's no fun.
That's not right.
It's no reward at the end.
It's boring. Say it again. If you're not doing experiments, it's boring.
I know. You just learn the periodic table, right?
Yeah, like I want to like make a volcano or something. Like let's see something erupt up in here.
Cool. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I would say whatever your cocktail, whether it's but you said you had watermelon mojito water. If you mixing teas or if you making mezcal margaritas, just have fun with it. And drink responsibly. Everything don't always got to get you wasted. Like something could just taste good and you'd be like, okay, I'm good with that. It's not always about getting drunk when you're drinking alcohol. It's really you're not actually supposed to taste the alcohol in the beverage. That's what people get wrong all the time. It shouldn't taste like alcohol. Like alcohol don't taste good. Right. It should taste good. It shouldn't taste like liquor. So just keep that in mind. Give your bartender a shot and have fun with it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And I want to add a tip too, a drinking tip, especially because we talk about hydration. Alcohol hydrates you. So if you are going to be out having fun, having a hot girl or hot guy summers everybody's into these days, make sure that you have water in between
drinks. Yes.
Like that is a great way. I have never had a hangover in my whole life. I mean, granted, I'm also not a big drinker, but when I drink, I've never had a hangover. And that is because I have drank cup of water, drink cup of water. So that's always my thing. And I end every night with crackers and honey. Now, I don't know. I think I read this in some every night of drinking, not every night of my life. Like if I go out drinking, not like every night I close out with honey and crackers. No, but if I go out drinking and I come home, I have crackers and honey because it's something about the hydration that you get from honey and then like crackers, and it kind of absorbs like. This is my theory. It absorbs like the alcohol and also kind of hydrates you. I've never
like saltines and honey.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just need to clarify.
Yeah. Your grandma's cracker, right?
Yeah. And if you do have a hangover, my mother taught me a long time ago. She was a bartender as well. Tea and toast. Just tea and toast. That's all you really need. If your stomach's unstable, the tea obviously will help. Maybe you want to use ginger or mint because it'll help you if you feel nauseous. And toast, just simple couple pieces of bread to get you back to normal. That was her antidote. And Tylenol. Tea, toast, and Tylenol. Because you're having a headache, like the headache is too much. So.
That sounds like a podcast name, like a whole podcast called
Tea, Toast, and Tylenol.
Look, you just started something. Don't be starting nothing over here because I take it wrong with it. That's why I'm so next week.
Cool. Well, you so much, Teresa, for coming back and sharing all of your bartending mixologist expertise with us. I mean, guys, we leave here knowing how to drink something. If you are a drinker, if you're not a drinker, this conversation kind of makes you interested in being like, maybe I feel like, explore some things, because you made it so like fun and exciting. So thanks so much for joining us. And until the next time, guys, until the next time, Vaughn.
Eat responsibly, and you should drink responsibly too.
Enjoy your food. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.